Alright, today we're going to be replacing the hub assembly here. So let's get it. Now we gotta replace that seal because it did get a little worn. I don't know if it even got messed up, but we're still replacing it because we got one. So let's get it. All right, so here's the new still-in harmonic balancer. The difference between this and the stock one, doesn't have that rubber piece around the edge here like the stock one does. But yeah, it came with a new seal. We're gonna be popping that out next. Oh, and a new bolt from Nissan. So the still-in harmonic balancer is installed. The trick I used to put it in, I just slightly put it in and then you tighten up the bolt slowly so you can push in the crank. Once you get that in, take this out and just shove it in there with the gun, because we can't hold the engine in the back, so we tighten as tight as we could with this thing. This thing really doesn't fail us. So let's get it. What is it?
Soho Motorsports.
Soho Motorsports Stage 1 turbo kit for the G35 or G37 370Z. They tell you to change the pump, power steering pump, to a 370Z pump. The only difference is this tube that goes up this way and this one goes out this way because we're relocating the power steering reservoir to the other side. So we'll get to that later on in the video, so stay tuned. Yeah, I already turned it up. All right, guys, so we got everything installed, all the accessories, over here. So that it's everything lining up, everything's good. So now we're going to probably install the rest of the stuff on the engine next. Time to unwrap the engine bay. Alright, engine bay looking fresh. Oh yeah. This thing looks nailed, like it just came out the freaking assembly line. Well, let's not go that far.
Looks legit.
But it looks legit. We got this done, so that. Acá tenemos al papá de Andrés. Diga hola, está en YouTube.
Hola.
¿Cómo estamos?
Yeah.
Ahí está. So let's get it. All right, now we're gonna be putting this whole bundle of wiring here back in. I'm trying to set up the camera so you guys can see it. Let's get it. Got it in. Everything's secured and routed the way it's supposed to go. So now time for some other things. Let's get it. All right, guys, today I'm gonna be installing these hoses from Z1 Motorsports. They're silicone hoses. Comes a whole kit for everything that it's in your engine. So all these hoses, coolant, and PVC. So let's get it. All right, first we're gonna remove this one right here. This one right here. We're gonna have to I don't know. Let's try. I'm gonna try actually taking this off. Like see if it slips this way without taking all this off. So let's do that first. All right, so I took it off without taking the pipes off the whole engine. Look at how disgusting this looks. So we're gonna clean this up a little bit and make it nicer and then put the hose on. Replacing the fuel pump. Took the seat out and then that thing out. Alright, so we got the fuel pump out and we just took this thing out. We had to cut this hose to get it out because they shrink wrapped it. Everything's off, the sensor, just be careful with everything. The floater. This thing right here, this thing actually pops out of there before you take it out. Plus it was a pain in the butt, but now we're gonna get all the dirt off and clean it up and then throw the new fuel pump in there. Let's get it. All right, I got the fuel pump in. It was pretty easy. Pretty much you just cut the piece that comes off of this piece that comes with the fuel pump. You put it underneath, you cut it, and then you make it. Oh, you got to take out this. You got to break this off to make this one fit. The one, let me show you what's the old pump. So this old pump, the way it clicks in here, it's a mechanism like this. So it clicks, hold on. So it clicks like this and it holds it. And these tabs, you have to break them in there. So break those tabs and slide the new pump in there. And then you have to use your old filter too, because this one doesn't fit because it's the shape of this. So you have to reuse that. Also, you got to get a hose that fits from here to here. So that's where we are next. So, and then the plug, I don't know how we're gonna do the plug, but we'll figure that out. Stay tuned. All right, she's all back in together. This is how she looks after you put her back together. I shrink wrapped the connectors there, and I installed one of these hoses here because the other one that came with it wasn't long enough. It was shorter. And then I had this from the R34 that I used for my line. So that's it. Let's get it. Let's put her back in and get going. All right, she's in. Now let's keep moving. All right, today we're gonna be pushing this thing over to the other side. So we're just gonna do it inside the shop and see if we can get it in there. So we don't have to take it out this way. Let's get it. All right, we just pushed through over here between me and my dad. ¿Estás bien? So, now we're going to raise her up and start getting this engine to be put in here. Let's get it. All right, so I'm gonna jump into the instructions a little bit. Since we have the engine out, I took a rubber mallet and pretty much bend it. That piece that would look like that, I bent it here because we're gonna have clearance problems, it says on there. So now I'm just gonna take some paint that over again. It also says to dent the strut tower somehow. So it says it right here on the instructions. So indentation there, but that's what I dent it in. And then that's what I gotta do now. So let's get it. All right, so now she's painted and dented. I don't know if that's what they wanted, but that's the instructions, and I figured I'd do it while the engine's out. But we're gonna see. If not, we'll see what happens. But let's continue working on this thing. Next, I'm gonna be removing the power steering lines because we gotta use new ones. We don't use these ones anymore, so we're gonna get rid of those. That's next. All right, so I gotta remove this bracket here. That, and then this bracket has 2 bolts right there, so we're gonna remove those. All right, after removing the bracket here, this one and this one here, you have everything loose. So now we have to remove this clamp out of here and this hose, and then this thread-on pipe right here. See if it comes out. Let's get it. All right, so now we're taking the wheels off. Like I said, we did the. We're still gonna put that fitting in there. We're gonna take this cover off, this black cover off right there, and this bracket here with these lines. We're gonna take that off next and keep going. So stay tuned. All right, with the wheels off now, like I said, we can access this side and remove this dust shield thingy here. So let's do that next. It's got a nut at the bottom, not there and not there. We just gotta take those out. Let's get it. Let's get that thing out. All right, so this bracket doesn't come out unless you loosen up this fuel lines and whatever the other thing's called, and then move the lines out the way. All right, how the pain in the butt was that? So you got to drop the subframe from there a little bit, from this side of these 3 points. Drop it down a little bit so you can pry it out there. So that's how we got it out. All right, we removed this bracket from the fuel line, and we removed the fuel line and the evap line that's over there. Took this connector out. So actually, I got to take that green piece out, put it on the line. It'd be easier when putting it on. So now we're gonna wrap those lines. All right, after removing the lines, you just wrap them up, and we use the heat shield things that come with it. It's a black fat one, and it comes with another one in the same packet, but you got to use the fat one on both of these. And then we're using exhaust wrap clamps to put it all on this. So all right, I'm jumping around everywhere, but I just got to get stuff done. So we're gonna do the alternator one next. So we're gonna remove the alternator cable from here, and then we're gonna take out this plastic piece and modify it. All right, so the way you remove this piece, it has another nut inside of the nut you already take off. So that's how that comes out. You take the other nut off and this comes out. Now we're gonna be trimming this piece right here and this piece right here. That goes into a groove in here that doesn't allow it to turn, but once we shave it off, we're gonna be able to turn it so that, you know, when we relocate this a different route, because this is gonna go over here, we're gonna take this bracket off. You can turn this, and then this can fit in there perfectly, and you don't have issues. So let's get it. All right, with it trimmed, see it's trimmed. Now you can put it on here, and you can turn it. Still gets stuck there. Actually, I gotta trim a little bit more. So that's how far it goes in. So it's good. All right, so I trimmed it a little bit more. You needed more trim all around the edges, and now you slide it in there and it turns freely. So now we're gonna stick this nut back in here to secure this whole thing. All right, with it tight, it's tightened already. Now you can still turn the thing, so when you go to put this on, you can put it at the right spot where this goes into. So let's wrap this up and get it in the car. All right, so update. We ran the power steering line, goes that way. We left it here so we can put the motor in and then route them. We're gonna route them this way once the motor's in. We got this fitting on here, tying it up. This bracket, we had to buy a new power steering pump with a new bracket, and it already came everything, tying everything up. Putting the motor mounts on now. We removed all the shields from this side, and we're gonna cut these bolts to make them flush so they don't get on the way. We also wrap all these lines. This we're not done with this yet, but this is how we got how far we got with the power lines to the starter and the alternator. We modified the alternator. So yeah, we keep moving along. I think we're gonna be dropping this engine in shortly as soon as we put the other motor mount in and cut these off. So let's get it. All right, so now we're prepping the engine with the harness here to put it in the car. Mounts are on, everything's been good, modified. So now we just gotta drop the engine in first, then put the transmission in, and then install the kit. But there's a lot of steps before that, so let's keep going. Let's do the harness first. So the wiring harness is on most of the components. Now we're going to take this thing and put her in there, drop her in there. So let's get it. All right, so we got the engine in. You excited?
Hell yeah.
One step closer. So the mounts fit perfect on there. You can see. Yeah, and this thing is solid. It doesn't move like the other other motor mounts. These are solid motor mounts, and this thing is just gonna be solid.
Everything's gonna be solid, bro.
Solid, bro, solid.
Transmission mount solid, everything's solid.
Solid. All right, so see back there, we put some more of that stuff on there for the fuel lines not to get hot. Hopefully it works. I don't know, I never used this material, so we'll keep you updated on that material. Just went all out and put a couple of layers on there to make it durable. So now we're going to be wrapping to be installed. All right, so we are wrapping the exhaust. So let's do the other one real quick, show you guys how to do this. All right, so I wrapped this tube also, all tied up. Made the hole real nice there, so it's all wrapped. That's how you wrap a exhaust with a bong. Cut that hole at the end and just tuck the material around it, and now you can fit your bong on there and everything looks neat. and I went overkill on the clamps because just don't want it to you know, come undone so fast. But we're gonna let it dry now, and we're gonna continue with the car. We're gonna be doing the clutch and the trans, so that's next. All right, so we took this plate off. This plate goes over here and it gets in the way of the so you gotta take that connector off, so it gets in the way of the oil pan dropper thing, the spacer we put it on. So you got to remove this and that piece too. Leave that on, don't put that back on, that plastic piece, because we need that. Actually, leave that off because we can get to those bolts easier. We'll put it in later at the end. And then we put the clutch on, the flywheel, and then we sand it down everything over here so we can get those gaskets flushed. So now we're gonna put the trans in. All right, so we got the mount off on the back. We got the trans on. Everything's on. Now we're removing the old mount. And we're gonna put the new mount. So let's keep going. And we're gonna be installing the power steering hose. I'm gonna route that real quick to show you guys. All right, at this time we have put all the connectors, components, starter, all that stuff on. He wrapped this so we don't get it hot. I don't know what he wrapped this one. Oh, okay. Put a new mount on our transmission, and now we're gonna put the shifter in and our drive shaft. That's next, guys. And we routed the power steering line this way, so we're gonna zip tie it here. And he went up that way to up there. So behind the motor mount and everything. So it looks good. So let's get it. All right, so the transmission and drive shaft and all that good stuff's on. Shifter's on. Now we're taking off the oil pan to put that spacer on there. So stay tuned for that. We removed actually all the bolts around. Now we just gotta get a chisel, get it between here or something to get it between a screwdriver or something to pry it down and drop all this stuff. So let's get that done. All right, we removed the oil pan. So you guys can see now we have to remove those two bolts right there holding that little penis looking thing. But yeah, we gotta take those bolts down and put the little spacer on there now. All right, with that pickup tube out, now we gotta install this spacer thingy. Make sure you have the two gaskets on it. So I'm missing one. There it is. All right, now we're gonna silicone the oil pan and the spacer. Take that spacer out of there. And then we're going to, we already put the spacer up here. It's on there now. Torque that to 21.4 millimeters. And I also installed this T thing for the turbo feed line, oil feed line, and the pressure sensor. So we keep going. Let's get it. All right, the oil pan is on. I put it to 10 millimeters all around, crisscross the bolts, and then we installed one of those fresh, ready drain plugs. We also put this plug on here, this adapter actually, and then this one actually doesn't need anything because the hole is plugged already, so you have to drill that out if anything, if you need anything else on there. But then we plugged that side, so came with two plugs, and they were both the same size, so we just used one of them, and then the fitting. All right, time for the turbo assembly. We have to install a fitting here, a fitting here, a fitting there, and a fitting there. So the coolant side is the side here, the side pieces, and then the oil feed is up here. So let's get that in there. And then this is the drain for the turbo. All right, next we're gonna be cleaning up this intake manifold, the lower intake manifold ports, cleaning everything up, and then installing that pipe that goes here for the coolant, and then installing the lower intake manifold with the injectors up top. And then I'm gonna try to be installing the turbo and stuff after that, because we gotta do some things over here, clean up. So let's get it. All right, she's all cleaned up, both sides, fresh, looking good. And then we cleaned up the surface here, installed that tube. Now we're gonna put the gaskets, torque this thing down. And the injectors are over here. They're draining. I think they're done draining. But we're gonna be replacing those after the manifold. So stay tuned for that. Manifolds on. These bolts go to 19 foot-pounds. But first you do a 5 foot-pound pass, and then you do a 19 foot-pound pass, and you gotta do a crisscross, how you saw in the video. You know, crisscross that joint. All right, now we're gonna do the injectors. So let's get that done. All right, so it came with, these injectors, and the pigtails. So now let's install them. Old injectors. Take off the clips first, then the connectors, and all this. Loosen it up, how you saw in the fast forward video, and then we're gonna put the new ones on now. Alright, the injectors are done. That's how they should look. I lube them up a little bit with some PB Blaster to get them in there. So now let's put the turbo on and then put these on later. Alright, so about to install the turbo. We set it up already. So getting it ready to go in. We got new bolts and stuff for the exhaust. All right, at this point, I slid this like this. And now I'm gonna go and tighten it up underneath with the clamp. These clamps are awesome. Look at this. So you squeeze it and then you can unlock it. They're really good invention. Love them. All right. So I put a clamp on there and it's perfectly seated, you can tell. So you want it sticking out there. I messed up how to put the pipe. That's why you guys saw me out here. So that's gonna look. There's all the routing. Before we start going any farther, that's how we ran all the tin foil here. You know, all the not tin foil, heat wrap all along here. This is how this looks. If you guys can see the wire, I ran it down here straight down to the alternator. Power steering, I ran underneath the headers and on the motor mount back down there. This wire we ran, and then we put a zip tie over here, how it says. We ran the power steering bracket over here with the reservoir. I ran the the hose. I zip tied it to that sensor, and then zip tied it to this part right here. And then I'm gonna put it in there, cut it a little bit and put it in there. So I tighten everything. I'm just gonna, this is not tight completely because I wanna put the turbo on it and move it around because I still have to put the other pipe and stuff on there. Also, I routed the, I put more, you know, of that stuff here for the heat around here. And then we're gonna put this side on next. And then we're gonna put the other, the wastegate with the screamer pipe, O2s, all that. So let's get it. All right, hold on. So I routed this pipe down there, that bracket there, so the turbo goes there. And then we're installing this other pipe that goes to the exhaust. Let's get it. All right, so it's installed. Bolt nut there. Bolts there. Gaskets on there. Nah, let's not tighten it yet. We can actually, yeah. Yeah. We can tighten these. We're gonna tighten those. Put the sensors on. Put the wastegate on. We're gonna set the wastegate up for you guys. And yeah, keep going. There's the dump pipe right there. We still have to put the other exhaust on there. It'll probably come out this way. Exhaust go out this way. It's definitely a sick kit. Money well spent. All right, so we put it together. We're gonna do a 10-foot thing just to see where it's gonna go for now. We're gonna mount it. Let's get it. Alright, so the screamer pipe is on and it's gonna go what? So this is how I routed it. I put the hoses there, they're pretty close. It didn't come with one of those tees that they were telling us it was coming with, so I went ahead and did my own thing here. And then you can access the wastegate right here and take it off if you wanted to. Everything's good, not touching there. So it's screaming this way. Now we just gotta put the boost controller on and keep going, guys. Turbo time. All right, today we're gonna attempt to install the turbo and see if everything fits, because I think we might be good, but we might be bad. So let's figure this out. So we got the exhaust almost on. This pipe was a pain in the butt. You gotta drop the subframe a little bit, pull up the engine, because we got different mounts on there, as you guys saw on the video. But yeah, everything's looking good so far. Turbo's on, everything's on. So let's get it, let's keep going, finish up this exhaust. All right, so we're about to put the spark plugs in. These are R35 GTR spark plugs. They're gap to 0.28. And we're gonna be installing it, putting the oil in to see if the car starts, because we don't know if this engine starts. We never started it. It's been sitting for 2 years. So we're gonna take the belt off just so we can run the car, put the intake manifold on, injectors. So let's get to it. Let's see if this bad boy runs. All right, injectors are in. Now we're gonna put the spark plugs. All right, so the spark plugs are in. Boom, 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 boom. Now we're gonna put the brand new coil packs from Z1 Motorsports. Let's get them in there. There you go. They're on. Put those dress-up bolts real nice. Now let's put the intake on. So for the intake, you're gonna get rid of the cooling ports here, or not, like the hoses that connect to here. One connects to this, so you just take that off and just leave that. I'm just gonna leave that there. Same thing with this side. And that the way we're going to be installing the turbo, these lines, it's gonna go one here and one back here. So that's where those hoses go. Now I'm gonna be installing the intake manifold and the rest of the stuff. Let's get it. 1, 2. All right, we got that in. Now we took the belt off, we routed all the lines, and we're gonna try to start it up. We're gonna crank it. We took out the fuse from the fuel pump. This is the first fuse on there, so we don't get no fuel in the system while we're cranking her. And we're just gonna crank her over a few times, try to get the oil flow going, and then after that we're going to be running the car. So hopefully it starts. And also we're gonna be putting the Ecotech tune in it. So let's get it. All right, so we're gonna crank her over to just build up some oil pressure. Go ahead. Yep. All right, I think she's gonna start, guys. She's spinning freely. Now I'm gonna put the fuse in and try to start it up. All right, with the fuse in, we're gonna go try to start it up. Go ahead, start it up. Again. Huh. Again. I think we need that tune maybe. All right, second attempt without the tune. We just plugged in those sensors, mass airflow. All right, go ahead. Dale gas. Como que le das gas. So we just ran a vacuum block from the ports that come out the back for the evap sensor here. So we took the one side, which is this side, and we ran it to the vacuum block. We ran it this way, but we pushed the hose all the way in because it has a little extra tip on it. I'll show you on the other manifold here. So if you see here, the hose ends here and it touches there, but then it gets fatter here. So we slid that blue hose over that and clamped it real tight. And then we used some more vacuum hose from this side and just ran it to the sensor here for the evap. So because you only need one source of vacuum on there. And this is like a Y, they put a Y on there. So that's how we ran that vacuum block. All right, guys, so now we put the front radiator support in. Let me show you guys what we got going on. So we ended up switching the routing of this vacuum block. So this is gonna be, these two end ones is gonna be the block valves on each side. And then this is the wastegate. So I connected it back there to the wastegate, and then I put the boost controller right here. I pretty much loosened the bolt back here, one side, and then this fit in there, and then I zip tied that to that, and it's not going anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. So it fits perfect on there. And then over here you have your wiring harness. You have to hook that up. I gotta run this underneath here. But yeah, we're looking good, man. Like all these hoses we just put on, brand new hoses, silicone joints. We got dress up bolts everywhere. We got cash. Say what's up, bro. You ain't gonna say what's up? Come here, you big boy. Dile que se pare en ti.
Oh, no, man.
Come here.
Too big.
Come here, boy. All right, so I just routed the power steering lines. The bottom one to the cooler goes to the rack. It's the line that we ran all the way down there. And then this one, I used the old stuff that we had and we made it work here. So that one goes to the reservoir. And then that big hose that we put in before from the power steering pump goes there. It's because that sucks up all the fluid. And then the rest, you know, is how it was. Now we're gonna continue, put the front mount intercooler on and run pretty much the piping and everything. So we're gonna just fast forward this. So I hope you guys enjoy. We're tightening up the catch can that we just installed, so this thing can fly. So yeah, guys, how you guys looking at this? It looks fresh. Everything's on. Just gotta put another blow valve on this side, and then we'll be ready to go. Oh, and the tune. You gotta put the tune in there. Freaking RT tuning. Blast them up. These guys, bro, they sent us a freaking file that was empty. And then we couldn't like make this car run at least, you know, test driving and shit. So, but everything else is done. We got it started. Everything looks 100. Pop this joint in here. Ready to breathe. You know what I'm saying? All right. Got to tune this joint. Put the tune in there. This guy just got his tune from RT Tuning, and 5 days later, give him the run around. But we got it. Hopefully. Stay tuned. Trying to download it now. Nothing's happening? Try hit program receive. Ensure the man lower and auto headlight are switched off. Okay.
Power position before continuing. Do you want to continue?
Yes. How low's the battery on this thing? We should hook up the battery to it. The booster. Alright, so it's clearing all the DTCs, and we have a charger now on this. Every time you guys start something programming, put a charger on it just in case, especially when it's cold out, 29 degrees out. So the computer's doing its work now. And switch ignition on. It's on. Now programming sequence has now completed.
Oh shit.
Okay. What's the mouse? Okay. Alright, so has been now complete. Programming sequence has now completed. Alright, so let's see if it starts. You wanna see if it starts? Let's go. Let's see if it starts. Alright, so now we're gonna start it for the first time. Go ahead. Yeah, make sure it's in neutral.
Ready?
Let's get it. Oh, hell yeah. Right away, dude. Right away. Hell yeah. That joint just started right up. Hell yeah. Now we're gonna put some more power steering. All right, so this guy's disappointed now because we ran into an issue. We actually got a couple issues. We got a rubbing here. Down here, we rub, the tire rubs the boot on the turbo side that powers the whole entire thing. So, and also we have a code 10P1093, and it's referring to this solenoid back here. So if the car doesn't rev past 2,000 RPMs, and it's really slow getting 2,000 RPMs, you can barely even get it to go. So we don't know if it's a tune issue or if it's a solenoid issue. So since we have the other motor, we're gonna take it off. We took it home, and then we got the tune, and then we came here. It was like bad timing, dude. You probably got the email when you were here.
No, when we just
No?
got over there.
Fuck. And then, so there, the car's misfiring and everything. PO 300 also comes up as misfiring, random misfire. So we're gonna try that sensor first, because as soon as you clear the code, it comes right back. And everything's plugged in, and we didn't mess up with the harness or anything. So, and that's what it's calling for, so let's get it.